So it wouldn't be a Karate Kid movie or show without that special move at the end. Number one, we had the crane technique. Number two, drum technique. Number three, that kata shit. Next Karate Kid I don't remember. Cobra Kai. Is there a special move? I ain't telling you. Alright, so I just finished Cobra Kai, the YouTube Red series that just premiered 2 days ago. What's today, the 4th? It premiered on the 2nd. Man, I had somewhat high hopes going into this. I saw the trailer. If you've seen my review for the trailer, I was like, okay, I can get on board with this. Because at first it came off as being a spoof of itself. So I'm like, okay, they're not going to really take this seriously. They're going to kind of make fun of itself. So I'm like, all right. From the first episode, I was hooked. If you see my videos, you know me, man. I am a sucker for nostalgia. Even if the shit is not even good. If you can tug at my nostalgia heartstrings, you've got me. Justice League, for example, not a very good movie, but the nostalgia got me and I fell in love with it. I don't know what everybody else is going to say about this show, but for me personally, especially the way it started, like it had 80s written all over it, and I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm on board with this. And this takes a different route. Like, this is in the Karate Kid universe, but it is not a Karate Kid show. This is about Johnny Lawrence. It is all his character development. And by the way, I'm keeping this spoiler free, y'all. Daniel LaRusso is a big part of this show. Like, he is the co-star, but this is Johnny Lawrence's story. And we get to see why Johnny is the way he is. You know, how he ended up becoming this badass that he became. And there's a lot of empathy for him. Like, I could never watch the first Karate Kid ever the same way again. When I first saw that movie, Johnny was an asshole. I hated him, but then as I got older, I became more Team Cobra Kai. And then, like that video that was made, Why Daniel is the Real Bully, I was like on board with that. But in this one, I really felt for the dude. And it's like, I related more to Johnny because in a lot of ways, like, that's me. Like, Johnny is trapped in the 80s. He's stuck in the 80s. He's never, like, the guy doesn't even know what Facebook is. He doesn't know anything about social media. He drives the same car that he drove from the first movie, okay? He is trapped in the 80s. He likes to get drunk and watch old 80s movies at home. That's what I do. Go figure. I'm like, yo, I can hang with this dude, man. So in this time, the roles are reversed. In the first movie, Daniel was the poor kid from the other side of the tracks. Johnny was the privileged kid. He was a spoiled brat with all the breaks, and he was a bully. He was an asshole. He was a snob. And in this one, the roles are flipped now because now Daniel has a chain of car lots that he owns, and he's living the life. He's got a great family, a beautiful wife. Everything is going good for him until he sees that Cobra Kai signed. And Daniel also suffers from PTSD because even though Johnny suffered because of that loss and he was never the same after that, Daniel, if he sees anything Cobra Kai, it brings back those memories and he loses it. It's funny though, most people like Daniel that are bullied in school end up becoming abusive police officers. The thing I loved about this show the most was all the Easter eggs. Like, this show was the ultimate love letter to any fan of the Karate Kid, and I consider myself a big fan. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. I do like the second one also. 3 I could have did without, but all 3 of them are canon because they're all acknowledged in this movie. I'm sorry, in this show. And there is a lot of retellings of situations and things that happened in those 2 movies, which I dug. Even down to the tournament, it pretty much replayed kind of how the first one played. And some people might find that annoying and predictable, and yeah, there are some predictable parts in here, but for some reason it worked with this because I was still on board with it, and I'm like, okay, that happened in the first movie. Oh, okay, this is what happened with that. And they even go back to old locations from the first one, so I'm like, damn, nostalgia, it did it again. I fell in love with this show. I found myself cheering. I was getting emotional at times. They paid a very touching tribute to Pat Morita, who played Mr. Miyagi, and they did it very well. And so some actors reprised their roles from the original. That's not saying no names, but some actors do come back. They have a lot of stock footage that they throw in there, and even the pop culture references. Like there's a scene straight from Rocky 4 where after Drago kills Apollo and Rocky's driving down the road and he's going down memory lane and they do that little montage scene. There is a scene like that in this show that I'm like, okay, that's straight from Rocky 4. This show had the perfect blend of paying homage to old heads like myself that love the movie, and then also introduces a new generation of characters that can cater to the younger audience. Like, I can't wait to watch this with my daughter and share it with her because I think she will love this as well. And I was actually on board with the new characters as well. Like for example, Force Awakens, I really wanted to see the old cast. I wanted to see Han, Leia, and Luke. You know, I could care less about Finn and Rey, but then Finn and Rey started to grow on me. But it's like, okay, let's go back to the old school stuff. But in this one, I was looking forward to what happens with these kids because you get attached to these kids. And the kids that end up joining the Cobra Kai are a colorful cast of characters. Like these kids are outcasts, they're losers. And I like the fact that how Johnny is able to turn them around. But it's almost like, in a way, he creates Frankenstein's monster, you know what I mean? Not to go into detail, but it's like he starts to realize that everything that he was taught is wrong, and he's just constantly battling these demons. And this is a real character study for Johnny Lawrence, and I think William Zabka played him brilliantly. And Ralph Macchio, how you say his name? Macchio or Macchio? I think it's pronounced Macchio, but for all these years I've been saying Macchio. Fuck it, he's Ralph Macchio to me. Ralph Macchio is still charismatic as Daniel. He's likable. He does come across as a dick a lot of times. I don't know if they try to make him the villain or the asshole, but there are some parts where he is kind of a douchebag. And, you know, like you see, like from the audience's eyes, you see Johnny trying to, you know, redeem himself, but Daniel is so messed up from what happened to him in the past. He refuses to let Cobra Kai, like, he does everything in his power to keep Cobra Kai from happening, and that's where a lot of the clashing comes in. And I think it was done brilliantly. I love, there's nothing bad I can say about this show. This show delivered to me on everything. Like this is a perfect show for me. This is the kind of show that I love. This show was made specifically for my taste. Everything about it was perfect. The performances, the writing. One thing I'll say about Cobra Kai that I think is actually did better than the first Karate Kid, which is not hard to do, is the karate, the actual fight scenes. To be honest with you, as much as I love the Karate Kid, the fight scenes were not very good. They were decently choreographed, but because the story in the movie and the score and everything about it was so good and the characters, the fights became they became like in the background. Like, it didn't bother you that the fights were mediocre. But if you compare it to other martial arts films, Karate Kid probably has some of the worst karate on screen. But Cobra Kai, the fights were a lot better. The karate is a lot more fluid. It's a lot better. It's more, well, I'm not gonna say realistic, but it's more exciting. If I want to nitpick, I would say the tournament was a little far-fetched, because unless they changed the rules of the tournament, I thought that you couldn't hit in the face. It can only be from, you know, waist to the neck. And I guess they changed that because a lot of people get hit in the face very hard and nobody says nothing about it. And you can even hit a person while they're down. I didn't know that you can do that in a karate tournament. But other than that, it didn't have the drama of the first movie tournament, but still I thought it was effective. And because you fell in love with these characters, you want to see how the end turned out, and I was very satisfied. So overall, man, this was an ill show. This was, to me, was a perfect show. There was nothing wrong with it. I can't wait to watch it again. If you are a fan of the Karate Kid, this is the ultimate love letter, and you will love this show. I guarantee it. YouTube came through with this one. I didn't expect something of this quality to come out of a YouTube series. Like, this is some shit that will be on Netflix or whatever. So the fact that YouTube created this, man, big ups. I'm gonna grade this thing. I'm gonna give Cobra Kai, the series, A+, baby. I haven't given anything an A+ this year so far. Even Infinity War, I gave it A. This is the first A+, and it's a show. Solid A+, man. This show was a shit. I love it. I'm gonna watch it again. So, What are your guys' thoughts on Cobra Kai? Have you seen it? What are your thoughts on it, man? Let me know. Comment below. Comment freely. Thank you for watching. As always, this is Rashad G signing out. Strike first. Strike hard. No mercy.